Jeff Moon is a former assistant U.S. trade representative for China Affairs at the National Security Council, and currently he's president of the consulting firm China-Moon Strategies. Jeff, thanks for joining us again. First, we just heard there, how likely is a face-to-face meeting at this point between Biden and Xi Jinping, and what would need to happen before that?
Well, I think we're going to find out at this meeting. There are two purposes for this meeting. The first is sort of a regular check-in at the most senior diplomatic levels in order to really control a downward spiral in relations. And as the discussions progress, really the second major purpose is to determine whether Xi and Biden would be able to meet at the G20 meeting in Rome that's going to be coming up in a few months. I think they probably should. They're going to be at the meeting, but the parties at this meeting are going to need to discuss things like the choreography, the agenda, possible achievements that might be announced. So there's a lot of prep work that goes into a summit, and if things go smoothly, maybe that would happen to the benefit of all of us.
Donald Trump, as president, confronted China over things like trade with his trade war and other issues as well, his involvement with the DPRK, different to his predecessors. How much would you say is Biden's policy an extension of Trump's policy, a return of Obama's policy, or a completely new approach?
Well, I think it's quite different from Trump's policy for a variety of reasons. First of all, the tone, the hectoring, the insults, the unpredictable developments and last-minute decisions by Trump itself, that's all out of the way. We have a very orderly process. There is, however, a consensus in the United States that we need to be tougher on China. And there are a number of strains that are carrying through. But this is not an America First policy. Trump tried America First, and America First, it means isolation. And Biden has very much decided to start working with the allies. And to great success, I think. And I think actually the U.S. and China have traded places in the sense that the U.S. is now working multilaterally, and China, with its wolf warrior approach to diplomacy, is isolating itself more and more, and I think feeling some pressure from the U.S. and its multilateral allies.
Washington's frustration in getting Seoul and Tokyo on the same page when it comes to Beijing. How important is it that that happens?
I think it's important, especially with regard to how we handle the Korea Peninsula. But those two countries, despite the deep historical differences that they have, with regard to the large geographic picture in Asia, perhaps have more in common than they have not in common. And so I think that's what the Biden administration is relying on, and that's what the discussions were about when Wendy Sherman visited those countries.
Xinhua editorial on Sunday said that Washington needs to approach these talks with, quote, sincerity, that it needs to stop meddling in China's internal affairs, and it argues that the U.S. should abandon, quote, its condescending attitude. Do you see the Biden administration changing the way it decides to approach Beijing?
Well, China has well-founded historical concerns about sovereignty, but frankly, a lot of this rhetoric sounds to me like the old tactic of challenging the process when you can't challenge the facts. China is claiming that somehow the process is unfair and the U.S. should not be raising various issues because it can't respond to very well-founded and well-documented facts on the ground in areas in China that are of concern to the international community. So I don't see a major change in the tone of the Biden administration.
I think the Chinese approach normally has been to handle those things privately behind closed doors rather than in the public forum. Maybe that's some of the difference in the tone there. Jeff Moon from China-Moon Strategies, thank you for your input.
Thank you.